We're going to call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. If y'all would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Charles.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If you'll remain standing for our invocation by Cheyenne.
Heavenly Father, I just thank you so much for this beautiful day, and I thank you that you are in control of all things, and we trust you. And Lord, I just ask that as we make decisions and vote on things, that you would give us wisdom. I pray that you continue to lead our administrators and give them strength and endurance for this time. And I just ask that you would keep our staff and our kids healthy, and that you would help us to be able to keep our focus on the kids and what really matters. I just pray that you would carry us through this time. And we just thank you that you are in control. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Cheyenne. And David's going to read our mission.
Mission of GISD. The mission of Gatesville ISD, a portal to limitless possibilities, is to empower our students to be life-ready knowledge seekers and problem solvers by instilling leadership, innovation, integrity, critical thinking, and service through challenging and engaging learning experiences, facilitated by passionate teachers and supported by caring parents and community members.
Thank you. And I need to read this before we have any public comment. The board encourages comments about the district from members of the public. Anyone who has signed up to speak in advance of the meeting in accordance with the board procedures may do so at this time. The board asks that each participant's comments pertain to district business and be no longer than 5 minutes. For any member of the public who is accompanied by a translator, your time will be doubled as required by law. Remember that the board may not discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on our agenda. In addition, the board has adopted policies to provide prompt and equitable resolution of complaints and concerns for employees, students, or their parents, and the general public. Copies of our district policies and procedures on public comment and filing complaints are available at the Gatesville ISD Administration Office, 311 South Lovers Lane, Gatesville, Texas. Barrett, do you have any others?
We always read here the last few weeks that even though we're meeting here in person, we realize that there are still people who might be hesitant to come in person. And so seating is also limited, so if someone wants to email a comment to my email address, they can. And so far I don't have any, but they can during the meeting as well. And Marcy, do we have any other open? Okay. All right.
Okay, so we're going to go on to the consent agenda. Are there any questions about any of the items on the consent agenda?
I have a question.
Okay.
Down in the checks, what is a tax pool transfer? What tax pool transfer for $1 million?
That's the account.
Caught my attention.
That's the account where our bond fund.
Okay.
That's the account where we're holding our bond funds. And
Okay.
we withdraw from that and put it into the general checking periodically. Right
Okay.
now it's probably about once a month.
I looked at that and I said,
They're
no, sure that's not $1
they're
million.
hitting a pretty good clip.
I guessed the decimal or two when I was.
You warned us about some of that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Any
That
more?
answered my question. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any more questions about any of that? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Cheyenne, a second? Charlie, okay. No more questions? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. None opposed. Okay, thanks. And we are up to the information items with Coach Phillips.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, you guys had some questions for me about, just season tickets and different things. And so I wanted Ricky to come tonight to give us the latest. It's an ever-changing game plan as far as the athletics, because we're at the mercy of so many different things going on. But Ricky's got a good plan together and is here to answer any questions y'all might have about tickets or seating. And even today, Fairfield said, I think they have changed and said that they are going to allow some visitors to come to the first scrimmage. And so that was brand new today. So again, it's a moving target. So Ricky's here to give you what's what as far as today at August 17th.
And I think you've got a copy of the packet. This is what I've got here today. These are the most up-to-date guidelines as far as return to play, our game day operations, how we're going to be selling tickets at varsity football games, home and away, how we're doing business as far as non-varsity football events, where no tickets are required in advance. So what you have in your packet, what's up here, kind of goes over our guidelines there. We've got certain days of the week set aside for varsity home football games to sell to parents that are involved with, that have a kid that's playing football or in the band, dance, or cheer. We have a day set aside for our GISD staff and senior citizens. And then we have a couple of days where we're selling to the general public. One of those days being limited to 4, and on Thursday, whatever we have left, it's first come, first served with no limits. And I'll be honest, I think early in the season, we're going to reach our capacity. You know, our seating capacity right now is 1,103 as far as home fans. We're going to reach that pretty quick, I feel like. If it's any indication from the last or the first 2 events that we hosted, we had 2 volleyball games here Friday and Saturday. We didn't get to capacity because our gym is pretty spacious, but we had a lot of people there. And had we have flipped the opponents from Friday to Saturday, we would have reached capacity. So I think a lot of folks are ready to get out and come watch, regardless of what it is. They want to come watch their kids play. They want to get out and see what's going on. So I think our first game here, which is tonight, we're going to dedicate the field in honor of Tommy Davidson. And the following week we have homecoming. I mean, we are more than likely going to turn people away at the gate. I just don't see us having tickets available. And the more we win, I think that will keep happening. So that's kind of in your packet what you've got there that kind of goes over our guidelines. Again, talks about season passes. You know, we talked about the last time I was here, we are going to live stream all of our football games home and away. Hornet Radio is taking care of that, not just audio this year, but also video. And we got a chance to watch them do kind of a test run a couple of weeks ago. It's pretty nice. I mean, it's really nice. It's going to be something that people can enjoy. And just, you know, most of our protocol is in the packet what you have there, kind of going over what we've got in place. Anybody have any questions that I can answer for you?
What is the enforcement of the district as far as social distancing and mask?
Well, you got to have a mask to get in. You got to have a mask to get into any of our sporting events. That's first and foremost. Once you're in our gymnasiums, we've taped off seats to try to help alleviate that. We're reminding our fans over our loudspeakers about the mask requirements, also about social distancing. We'll do the same thing at our football stadium on Friday nights and Thursdays as well. So we're our diligence is we've done everything right to get you in there. We're hoping that the grown folks take care of their business and go by the rules so we can continue to have these things. Because if they don't, then that's where our problems are going to come up. You know, whether you like the mask or not, I mean, we've got a certain way that we have to do business that Gatesville ISD has to. So we've got, you know, our policy of masks to get you in the gate or in the front door, and then from there it's upon you to take care of the business from there on.
Rob, last week you'd asked about season tickets. So the following year, if COVID kind of dissipates, would that go back to normal? And so I asked Ricky, that's the case. It would all go back to normal.
Yes.
So the folks that had season tickets, that would all.
Yes. A year from now, we'll go back to our 2019 seating chart. So if you have 12 season tickets in 2019, you would get that first shot at those same 12 for 2021.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yes, sir. Hopefully. Hope that's the case.
Oh, yeah. We hope so.
But I mean, we're also making, besides our Hornet Radio live streaming, we're going to have some huddle. There are pixel cameras that will be in our gymnasiums that will allow us to live stream some gym sports, our volleyball and basketball at high school and junior high. We're making it really available for people that either can't be there in person or don't feel comfortable coming in person yet to be there or to watch it live as well. So we're doing everything we can to make it possible for you to watch, watch what's going on.
Did you get the problem resolved with the schools that might not allow us to film?
Working on it. There was some issue with the National Federation of High Schools contract, but I think UIL is going to step in and kind of oversee that. So I think we're going to be fine.
Tomorrow night, before the varsity volleyball game, is when we dedicate the Sid Pruitt Gymnasium. And so that should be a special event. And they've added some more things, a portrait of of Mr. Pruitt and some things up there that really, it looks nice, so we're hoping the family will like it.
His old paddles up there, a plaque with his bio information and a portrait. It's a really nice deal. Got finished up today, so.
You have one of those old boards?
I was gonna say, did you say paddle?
I know.
That
It
is
says
great.
paddle. That's one of the things that the family brought up, asked to be included, because a lot of you here may remember him from those. They're not gonna call any names out. Anyway, it's a very nice display. It's in the foyer of our new gym. So and that ceremony is tomorrow before the varsity volleyball game.
So that would be 7?
It'll be around 6:30.
6:30?
6:30,
Okay.
yes, between the JV and varsity games. Sure will.
Any more questions?
Did a good job working on it.
Thank you. I've had a lot of help.
Okay.
All right, thank y'all.
Thanks,
Ricky.
thanks,
Appreciate
Coach. And back to school update with Barrett.
I just added this as just a short little information item to let everybody know how the first 2 or 3 days went, and we really had a smooth start. You know, the one thing we were most concerned about, you know, are the kids going to wear the mask, or is that going to be a big fight? And it wasn't. The students have been very compliant with that, the ones that are in that age category that need to wear it, and I think they realize too that you know, there's a lot riding on it as far as, you know, making sure we keep going to school and try to stop a big outbreak from happening. And so I think they're so glad to be back at school. They're willing to go along with the rules. And I've been very impressed with our custodial crew. I've watched them in between classes come and wipe down water fountains and spray Lysol on things. And they're really trying to clean as much as they can all during the day. So they're working very hard every day, and so the teachers have done a good job of spreading the kids out as best they can. And so you know, Ricky, to his credit, I think with the public, we've had a lot of kids here all summer. You know, they've been doing sports camps, and there's band, and there's cheer, and so we've had a lot of kids here and a lot of staff members that work the whole time. You know, we always mention, you know, the cafeteria staff that work through the entire ordeal. So it goes to show that if you do the best you can with those things, you can stay healthy and come to school. And so we sure hope that we can continue that. But at the same time, you know, kids are going to test positive. We've had kids test positive during the summer. We've had staff members test positive, and you know, they self-isolate, they get better, they test negative, and they come back. And so we're hoping to just follow that same pattern and notify the parents in the homerooms when that does occur, and be transparent with them, and I talk with Coriel Memorial constantly, Dr. Bates and those folks, and again, that's when the custodial crew would really swoop in and do a deep clean. If there's somebody that's had it wherever they were, they would have a deep cleaning there. And so it's just something that will happen. It's already happened. It'll happen again in the future. We just have to work through it. And so hopefully, again, it won't be widespread. It'll be onesie, twosie type cases. But again, we just have to watch and see how it plays out in the community. Do you guys have any questions or concerns from the public or anything that you heard as far as the start of school, and questions about something?
My question was just about the Chromebooks, and if you could go over that a little bit.
So for 3 nights, Shelly and Dustin and Shane were out with a big crew of helpers with a lot of Chromebooks, and the parents had signed up and said, okay, we're going to go virtual, and so we would like to get a Chromebook. And so for the families that had a couple of kids, you could check out, you know, up to 2 Chromebooks, but we said, you know, if you've got 5 kids or 7 kids, until the shipment of 600 Chromebooks that we ordered comes in, we limited to 2 per family at the maximum. And so if you had 7 kids or 5 kids, you might have gotten 2 Chromebooks. You might have wished you could have gotten 5 or 7, but until we get that big shipment in, we were hesitant to do that. So I think most people were understanding of that. And we probably gave out 300 Chromebooks or so. And so they signed an agreement, and the parents seem to be appreciative, and so they're ready to learn from home. The other thing that was good to see was that at 8:30 in the morning the first day, I was around some of the remote teachers, and they were already fielding a lot of phone calls, emails from students and their families logging in. Is this right? Is this what we're doing? So it was good to see that those remote kids were up. They were trying to follow a fairly normal schedule. They weren't sleeping in till noon. They were trying to get up and let's start working. And so that was reassuring too. We've had really good percentages of contacting those kids who are going remote. They're not just on radio silent. And so that's important too, that they're checking in each day and watching the videos and doing the work. So.
How are your teachers doing?
So far, so good. I think I checked in on a lot of them over the last 2 days, Thursday and Friday, and they seem to be, I think, cautiously optimistic. I checked in on a few too that maybe had been a little bit nervous, and hopefully, if things keep going well, it'll show that we can do it. But there's always apprehension, trepidation about what could always happen, could go wrong. So.
Have you had very many change or choose a different option than what they started with yet?
Yes, there's been a lot. It's been very fluid, the back and forth between, all right, I think we want to go virtual. All right, I think we want to go in person. There was a lot of that right up to the last minute, even here these first couple of days. And so at some point here very soon, we're going to, we've got to shut that off. You've got to pick and you got to stick with one or the other. And so for the most part, most have done that. But right up until the first day, there was a lot of back and forth. It's a difficult decision for a lot of folks.
I feel like I should remember this, but remind me the Wi-Fi situation.
So we've got free visitor Wi-Fi streaming out of the primary, elementary, and intermediate campuses. So if your internet is kind of sketchy, you can go to those parking lots, and we've tested it, like especially in the big primary parking lot in front of the stadium. It's very powerful. It's a strong.
For the 3 lower grades, primary, elementary.
Okay. Yeah. And so if you're a junior high school student, go to one of those campuses and sit in the parking lot, and you should get good internet.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay. So we're going on to the agreement. Let's see. Action items. Mr. Frazier?
Yes, good evening, board.
Good evening.
Good
So you
evening.
know that our Medicaid reimbursements is handled through a consulting firm called MSB. And we signed a 3-year contract with MSB on April 1st, 2017. And that 3-year contract expired actually March 31 of this year. As you well know, we've been in the midst of a very difficult review of our 2018 SHARS cost report, and including an appeal, which has been ongoing now for 8 months. MSB, we've had some concerns about some of the kind of services that we've received from them. We've been with them. They have all the records. The people that worked on those cost reports are still available to us. So it's really we're not in a position at this point to recommend to the board that we're going to go look for another company. Not that we haven't, but we've decided as a management team that we want to go ahead and extend that contract for another year, which actually would have started on April the 1st of 2020, and it will expire March 31 of 2021. They have given us one concession, in that the 8% fee has been reduced to 7%. And I think that's a conciliatory move on their part in light of all the struggles that we have had with that 2018 cost report. I'm happy to report that last Wednesday, our attorney and HHSC's attorney finally reached agreement on a settlement. And the settlement amount is precisely what we had asked for. And that should have gone to the judge on Friday, this past Friday. And no sooner than that happened, they started already auditing us for the 2019 cost report from the same people.
Yeah.
So which is much earlier than normal. But the good news is that we're recovering $150,000 additional funds on that cost settlement, which will bring it up to $370,000. And I'm not sure, it might take 30, 60 days, you know, for that money to trickle in, but it will be forthcoming. So we have some good news there. But we do want to recommend that we go ahead this year anyway and extend our MSP contract for one more year. And that's the action item for tonight, so that's our recommendation.
Okay, through March 31st, 2021. Is there a motion for that recommendation? Anybody? Rob, second? Cheyenne? Any questions for Mr. Frazier? You're comfortable with this?
Yes.
Are you with me doing it?
Yes.
Okay. So, all in favor, raise your hand. Okay.
Okay.
Motion carries. Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
very much,
Frazier.
Leo. You too.
Amended order for the election?
Yes, this next one is just kind of a housekeeping item. Last meeting, we already approved this trustee election, but then the governor swooped in and made another little detailed change to it. Basically, the governor issued a proclamation stating that the early voting could occur earlier than originally scheduled. And so now it can start on Tuesday, October 13th and last through Friday, October 30th. So by doing that, we really needed to re-sign the paper and just make sure that you guys knew that it was an extended voting period, basically for folks to have more opportunity to go vote, trying to spread people out so they don't, you know, cluster into one more concise early voting period. And so my recommendation tonight would be to once again adopt the trustee election order, calling for an election to be conducted on November 3rd for the purpose of electing the 3 trustees for the 3-year terms, with the acknowledgement now that the early voting period's been extended per the governor.
And the cost is $5,500?
Still, yeah, it's still the same.
Yeah. Okay, is there a motion for that recommendation, Charlie? And a second, Rob? Any questions about the election? Okay.
Apparently, we got some more people that signed up.
Yes, we've got more folks signed up, so.
How many?
4 altogether, so yeah. So 4, and then there's 3 openings, so we'll have an election coming up soon.
All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. And now we're going to the policy update.
So the policy update, every year TASB recommends changes to our local policies. And so we sift through all that, and they make a little synopsis for us, but then I type one up too, just to kind of put it in layman's terms. And so there was probably about, I don't know, there was 12 of them that they wanted to have us change the wording a little bit. And so I gave a brief little synopsis of each one. There wasn't anything too earth-shattering as far as changes in there. And again, TASB legal, I mean, we trust them and we adopt what they, recommend for us to do. So, like the exhibits that changed, often that was just a change in the contact person, like an email address change. So some of this stuff is very trivial. But again, we wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of what was changing, those 12 things predominantly, dealing with some different things about Title IX and some different things that trying to keep up with current law. That's what TASB makes sure that we stay up to date with everything legal and stay legal. So I recommend that the board replace and or delete the local policies as listed in the board agenda per the recommendations by TASB.
Is there a motion for that? Charlie, second. Cheyenne? Any questions about any of that policy changes? Okay. All those in favor, raise your hand. None opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. We're ready for executive session.
That's it. How about that?
So we're going into executive session. Texas Code 551.001. And if you're in here, you need to leave. And if you would, if y'all want to stay till after the executive session, you're welcome to, but we ask for you to wait outside and not in that room because it kind of carries.